The championship is nearing its end. We're in the final stages now. And I'm gonna try my best to keep that number one. We come into this weekend right off the back of my strongest race performance yet, scoring a win in a podium, managing to cut the championship gap almost in half. There's just 4 rounds left in the season now, and the title fight is as heated as it can get. I can't afford to make any mistakes at all, as even just one little slip up at this stage may cost me the entire championship. On my last qualifying attempt, coming out of the final corner, bouncing over the curb and being on the absolute edge of the track limits on exit, I crossed the line and set a 1:49.653, the fastest lap time I've done this weekend, beating my old personal best by over 4/10 of a second. This puts me up into P2 for the sprint race, only 2/10 behind pole position, but more importantly, right in front of my title rival Jos Everts, out qualifying him by just 7/100ths of a second. My start's decent, but Jos is an even better one and he's already jumped up to the lead on the run down to turn 1. But right behind, my teammate Enzo has had an insane start from P9, already jumping 9 cars, and going into turn 1 he's going to dive it down the inside, going 3 wide into the first corner and he jumps up into the lead. Now I'm down to P4 behind Daniel and Jos, but my teammate out in front can help me by holding up Jos, giving me a chance to pass him later in the race. But into the next corner, my teammate suddenly loses power. I'm forced to veer right into the grass to avoid him, and that grants the lead back to Jos. Evan comes flying through between me and Daniel as we head into turn 6. Evan overshoots the corner, unsettles the car a bit as Daniel comes flying through around the outside. We're 3 wide through turn 6, bumping each other ever so slightly. One final bump from Evan and I nearly lose it on exit. Going into turn 7, I'm gonna try and hang a move around the outside, giving each other just enough space. Evan getting a little loose over the curb, and that allows me to slip past up into P3. But because of the battle, Jos has managed to get away and pull a nearly 2-second gap, as well as Daniel passing us for P2. And so I put my head down, and over the next couple of laps try and keep up with Daniel, catch back up to Jos and challenge him for the lead. As we headed to lap 5, I couldn't manage to keep up with Daniel, but now he's right on Jos's tail. Maybe I can take advantage of them battling it out, close the gap ahead and get myself involved. They're side by side through turn 6 and I close in more and more. They're side by side coming out of turn 7 and I'm now a second closer than I was. Still side by side through the S's, but Jos bounces off the curb and loses momentum. Daniel manages to pass Jos, but now I'm only 1.3 seconds off of him. All I need to do now is focus and chase him down.
Have race to go. Leader started final lap.
We reach the final lap and I'm only 4/10 behind him. I just need to find and pick the right spot to make my move. Coming out of turn 6, I'm just a couple meters back. This is my last chance to do something. It's either now or never. Jos manages to fend off my dive bomb well and I'm forced to slot in behind. But then as we go into the S's, this happens. Yeah. This is definitely the last thing I needed. Looking back at the incident, it's a mix of both me braking a tiny bit too late and Jos braking a tiny bit earlier than usual. But being honest, the blame falls on me. I'm at fault for the incident. And knowing that gaining the position like this just wouldn't sit right with me, I decided to hand back the position. And so as we reach the end of the final lap, we will finish the race in P3 right behind Jos in P2. Losing just 2 points to him in the championship, the gap slips back up to 20. Hopefully we can do better in the future race. Lining up on the grid in 3rd place with my championship rival right ahead of me, the only way I can make up for my mistake in the sprint race is to win the feature. And with the looming threat of a thunderstorm and rain early in the race, this might be my chance. We get an amazing launch off the line as Daniel bogs down on the grid, and we instantly jump up into the lead before turn 1. Protecting the inside just a tiny bit going into turn 2 as Yoss has also jumped up into P2. Right on my tail, but is challenged by Daniel and loses a little bit of time coming out of the corner. But coming out of turn 5 I run out wide a little bit and he's already got a run on me heading down to turn 6. We're door to door and he's slightly inches ahead of me, but I outbrake him as we go into turn 6. Run out a bit wide though onto the curb and get a little bit of oversteer. And on the entry to turn 7 he's got half of his car ahead of mine, but I hold the inside and manage to outbrake him, keeping the position and just being mere inches from contact. But now at the end of the lap he's got a good run on me coming out of the final corner. On the run down to turn 2 I slowly let my car roll to the inside, trying to confuse him and make him question which line to pick. He tries to slot into the closing gap but ends up bumping me and running into the grass, and going into turn 2 I managed to keep the position. Coming into lap 3, once again out of turn 5 he's gonna have a good run on me down the straight. Heading into turn 6 I leave the inside line open, brake late and swing the car around the outside, just about managed to keep it on the track on the exit, but now that sets me up for a bad run through turn 7, as I barely had any time to move over to the right. I understeer coming out of the corner, now Yoss has a good run on me. He forces me to the outside for the S's and holds the inside. But I brake late and managed to hang it around the outside. Switching over to the inside for the second part of the S's, and we still managed to keep the lead. Coming out of turn 13 is going to try a switchback, but I covered off well. On to lap 4 now. Going into turn 2, Yoss is going to try and dive it down the inside, and at the same time Daniel dives it down the inside. It's nearly 3 wide into turn 2, I see it coming and I leave just enough space. Into turn 5, Yoss is going to try and look for a move down the inside, try and scare me off my line. It doesn't work, but he still has a good run on me. And on the run down to turn 6 we're alongside. I hold the inside and Yoss is on the outside. I outbrake him into turn 6 again, but I overshoot a little and he's got a switchback on me. Alongside on the entry to turn 7. He tries to hang a move around the outside, but he doesn't have the grip. Understeers then oversteers. I managed to keep the lead and Yoss starts to fall back. And then it's raining, it started raining. Almost 5 laps into the race, the rain is finally starting to come down, and it's now time to think about our strategy. For the first lap after the rain started, the grip didn't feel too bad, and it wasn't raining too heavily, so I decided to stay out. But at the end of the same lap, Yoss decided to pit in. Being out on track though, it still looked drivable, and so I decided to go 1 lap longer, feeling like it wasn't time to switch over to the wets just yet. I might have underestimated how quickly the rain would intensify though, as towards the end of the lap I'm just sliding everywhere and my tires are ice cold. And going through turn 12 I just lose all grip and start aquaplaning towards the gravel, sliding all the way, just about managing to keep it out of the wall. And at this point it's pretty clear, it's time to pit for wets. Alright, I'm pitting in for wets. It's way too slippery out here. But right as we're pitting, Yoss passes us and goes back up into the lead. Coming out of the pits, we find ourselves 7 seconds down on Yos. This isn't going my way at all so far. If I want any hope at clinching the win and preventing me from losing any more points, I need to put my head down and drive like there's no tomorrow. Yos spun coming out of turn 13. His tires are dead and so he comes into the pits. And going down the start-finish straight, we pass him and reclaim the lead. I am now 17 seconds ahead of Yos with 6 laps to go, who's all the way down in third and has to get through Daniel as well. I've just been given a lifeline for the championship and I need to make the most of it. All I need to do is nurse these tires to the end and bring the car home. And even if Yos manages to pass Daniel and finish in P2, I'll still be gaining 1 point on him in the championship. I just need to focus and make no mistakes. And it was all going well until the penultimate lap where this happens. What the f***? I lost power. I've lost power. I'm out of f***ing fuel. No f***ing way. I run out of fuel on the penultimate lap while leading by 6 seconds. I somehow managed to crawl my car back to the pits to get it refueled. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. And coming out of the pits, I'm all the way down in P6, spending the rest of the final lap in genuine disbelief that that just happened. And I come across the line to finish all the way down in P6. At least it's not a DNF, but still, I can't believe I threw away one of the biggest lifelines I could have gotten for the championship because of such a stupid mistake. And it hurts even more after realizing that this might have cost me any remaining chance I had at the title. And so, we come out of this weekend with a total loss of 12 points to the championship leader. In a World Drivers' Championship, we fall back to being 30 points off of the championship leader Jos Everts, having basically rendered all of our efforts from the Canadian weekend useless. With just 3 rounds left to win the title, really nothing short of an absolute miracle. On the constructors front, we remain steady at the top, however having lost some ground to Nissan and Ford behind. This is so far looking like the only title we can realistically still clinch. Things aren't looking good at all for us, and we can only really hope for a miracle to save us at this point. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. It would help me out a lot and give me motivation to keep working on these videos. But yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one.